I have to be honest, I was still very much singing, which was my career before the nutrition. And I didn't know there and then that I would have any of what I have right now.
Rhiannon, thank you so much for joining me on the Experts podcast. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Oh, Lauren, just an absolute pleasure to be able to speak with you today. No, thank you for having me.
So I'm so looking forward to sharing your business journey with our audience. And where I really want to start is we're going to imagine for a moment that we have just met. We're at a dinner party and you have got 30 seconds to give me the headlines of who you are and what you do. So what's your elevator pitch?
So 30 seconds, I would probably be like, hello, I'm Rhiannon, a registered nutritionist. And well, I run a clinic in Harley Street where I aim to help people build a healthier relationship with food. So I run a team there and I'm a host of a podcast called Food for Thought, where I get to share evidence-based information about health and wellness. And I have a few books out as well. Renourish was my first, and I've recently launched ebooks. And that's me in a nutshell, really.
I think it's so fascinating for our guests to hear you try and sum up everything that you do, because for most guests on this show, the list is a long list. And when you're an expert and you are a personal brand and you wear all of the hats as an entrepreneur running a business and you're trying to have, a healthy relationship and be a mum, there is so much going on. But where I want to take our listeners first is back to the beginning. And I've known you for many years, so it's a little nostalgic to go back to this place with you where we first met in a cafe in West London. And you were just starting out. You were qualifying. You were still studying at the time. I'd love for you to paint a little bit of a picture for our listeners of where you were in your life at that point and how you were feeling about this career you were about to embark on.
I can remember that so well, Lauren. You and I go right back to the very start of Nutrition, really, where I started the whole thing. So to paint the picture for everybody, I was finishing university, hadn't quite finished, but I just landed a job to set up a new cafe at a gym called Transition Zone in Parsons Green. I'll be forever grateful to Claire Finley for giving me the chance there to run a cafe. It was my first time looking at spreadsheets, profit, this apple costs 50p. I need to sell a juice for X amount to make a profit at the end of the day. I was creating recipes and I had free reign really to build this cafe out of nothing, which was very exciting. And I remember the day Lauren walked in. You were trying to launch your magazine at the time, Well-to-Do London, I think, and you'd come to interview Claire about about her fitness, and she did like 100 squats a day or something. It was funny. And we got chatting and we kind of kept in touch. And at that point, I have to be honest, I was still very much singing, which was my career before the nutrition. And I didn't know there and then that I would have any of what I have right now. So it wasn't a mapped out plan.
But did you have a sort of purpose in mind that you wanted to impact people in a certain way and share a certain sort of expertise in a certain way?
Yeah, I did. There was always a huge passion there because of how nutrition had helped me personally, the education it provided me. I used to have a terrible relationship with food, especially in the music industry. It was toxic, to be honest. And from the education I received at university, it inspired me to think, well, there's just nobody out there. And at the time, there wasn't really. It was the beginning of pseudoscience, and there wasn't much evidence-based nutrition out there. On the internet, I would Google things and find answers to things that I used to believe. And I wanted people to see that you can enjoy food and live a healthy lifestyle. And it doesn't have to be boring, I don't think. It can be fun and it can taste good. And I would I guess it started me on a recipe journey, and I loved making things so much at the studio that I started my own little website and my own little blog. And that's when I started my Instagram at Transition Zone. It actually started it for the cafe and it grew from there, Lauren.
And I remember, Instagram for wellness as a conversation and a topic and a community, especially in London, was really starting to evolve. Instagram was an exciting place to go and to discover new things to eat and places to go, and we were really tapping into that, weren't we? So, at what point did you sort of start to realize the power of really building your own personal brand? I mean, it was Instagram initially was potentially just sort of a hobby thing, a way to express your views and your passion for what you're doing. At what point did it start to feel like, okay, I'm building a reputation here. I'm building a brand where people look up to me and see me as an expert in my field?
I think it started. Something I missed out before is I worked for a company called Tea Pigs. If you love the tea, I used to also give out samples in Whole Foods when I was doing this. So I was being approached by brands like Tea Pigs to try their products. And I thought, this is very strange because, like you said, I was on Instagram for my own passions and to see my clients at the time. I liked to see their progress, and they would tag me in their meals and I could see what they were doing and cooking, and I could give them a bit more encouragement. That's why Instagram was there for me at the beginning. But yeah, brands would approach and say, oh, I'd like to send you something. Would you like to try this? Would you like to be our nutritionist for our company? And I was thinking, oh, this is a complete new area. I had no idea how to navigate it. There were no guidelines in code of conduct with the Association for Nutrition, with whom I was registered with at the time, on how to deal with the media and be a nutritionist. And I guess that's when I started to realize, wow, I've got a bit of an impact here, because people are putting me in their mainstream media or putting me on their Instagram platforms. And I had to be extremely careful. And my website was born. My my now husband, at the time I wanted to call Nutrition Riri's Nutrition. He was just saying this terrible name. I'm not good at names. It's like, you cannot call your business Riri. Like, no one will take you seriously. You're a health professional, Rhiannon, with degrees under your belt. And I was like, yeah, that's true. And then Nutrition was born. We just merged the word nutrition and Rhiannon together. And I suppose that's when I realized that I had real clout in this world, because it just kept growing, Lauren. I can't describe it. And people were reaching out to want to do Instagram lives with me back then, or it was Facebook lives as well, to take questions from their big audiences. It was a world I didn't really know and found myself in very quickly. Where I struggled was definitely financial. I was not very good. Well, I had to raise my prices in clinic at this point because I was fully booked all the time, and the clinic I worked in took a profit from my income. And this is when I had a discussion with he was my boyfriend back then. And I said, this is really strange. What am I going to do? And I remember talking to you about it, Lauren, at the time. And I, in a day, just went down Harley Street, knocked on doors, said, have you got a spare room? How much is it to rent? I took a plunge. That's honestly how it happened. And I found the clinic I'm currently at now, still, all these years later. And I just went solo. And a lot of clients came with me. And a lot of clients came through networking. I think the biggest success to being any businesswoman, I'm sure you'll agree, is networking, having a good infrastructure of people that can offer advice around you. I feel very fortunate. I can lean on people, and I'm not scared to ask for help or ask questions.
That's great advice. What were the core ways at that time that you were getting clients and practically using social media to attract clients, practically using your website and other means to bring people into the clinic and grow things?
It was a very organic process, which was lovely. So I've never used SEO. I've never invested money in attracting clients, which I know is very rare. I'm extremely fortunate that that's never been the case. But it has come from hard work in other areas. It has come from every single corporate talk I've ever done in my life, mentioning the Nutrition Clinic, upselling at the end of every talk. This is us in clinic. I can help with X, Y, Z. This is the email address. It will always be a whole big slide out there on my presentation. I will always mention it on social media platforms, Insta stories. It's in my newsletter. It's word of mouth. The more platforms you utilize, the better. LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. So you don't actually have to pay to get awareness out there anymore, which is quite remarkable. I feel like you've got the power now, if you use it very wisely and carefully, to reach anyone.
I love that so much. Tell me, Ree, how has your vision evolved, and are there points in time where you have suddenly stopped and reflected and seen how far you've come, and realized that actually this could be bigger than you had ever imagined when you were back working in transition zone all those years ago?
I definitely think the moment I left, so when I got the book deal, everything did change. Well, when the book was out, I had to leave the Royal Albert Hall, which I was really sad about because I'd been there nearly 10 years working, and it was one of my favorite places. I was like, I can't work in a call center anymore. But genuinely, they were like a family to me in London, a consistent family on the side. But it was when I realized that I had no time anymore because my inbox was flooded every single day. That's a huge, I started reflecting, thinking, I personally am maxed out with clients. My clinicians are maxed out with clients. I'm getting approached and being paid to work with nutrition brands via social media and give talks that I never expected. I think the real epitome was when I did my TEDx talk, and I thought, oh, wow, I've been asked to do a TEDx talk. Me. It was that real realization that, oh, I am impacting people. I'm helping. What I wanted to do at the very start is actually coming true. And that was quite magical, Lauren, that moment when I gave that talk, and it's had hundreds of thousands of views on YouTube. And of course you get the odd thumbs down. You know what it's like online. Not everybody's going to like you, but the overwhelming positive response really is humbling.
I love that so much. It's so important to stop and celebrate that. And I'm massively celebrating with you. Let's finish up with a quick fire round. Okay. So, Ree, what's one thing that you wish that you knew when you started this business journey?
I definitely wish that I had known that comparing yourself to another person and how their journey, that it's not always what it looks like on the outside. You know, someone may pretend they have a PA answering their emails. They don't really have a PA answering their emails.
I love that. What's one thing that you wish that you'd done sooner in your business?
I wish I had grown it sooner. I delayed that for a long time, as you know.
And you've shared a lot of wisdom around that, which I think will help a lot of people in terms of making that decision sooner and building that trust sooner. Why do you do what you do? What's your purpose?
Ultimately, the reward in a health giving role and seeing someone say, wow, I feel happier, I feel healthier, thank you so much. That's why I do what I do. I can't even describe to you the feeling. I had an email this morning from someone who'd read my latest ebook, the Fuel Fitness one, and it's lovely. That's why I do it.
Amazing. This might be a similar answer, but what's the best part about your job?
Oh, definitely. That's the best part. But also the best part is the many different hats, so the diversity. I can do podcasts, I can write books, I can give talks, but equally mentoring. I love mentoring my staff. There's something so rewarding about seeing someone grow into their own shoes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're such a natural at that too. The final question, Ree, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received, perhaps specifically around kind of building and scaling up your nutrition business?
Treat others as you want to be treated in return would be the best bit of advice, because every single person you speak to will be more likely to help you build your brand if you treat them with respect.
Ree, I'm so proud of you and I'm so inspired by you. And I know our listeners are going to have seen the glossy outside of your brand, and you've built such a beautiful brand. But behind it, I have seen the years of hard work and learning and growing. And it's, as a businesswoman, you are so inspiring and will inspire many other women, but also many men as well, who are in this space building an expert brand. And so thank you for sharing your incredible wisdom and your journey with us so far.
Oh, well, back at you, Lauren. Thank you for helping me along those many years. Thank you for having me.